Luca had almost forgotten the walkie-talkie he was... Luca looked at Iggy with hesitation. With a resigned sigh, Luca responded. Luca winced, shoving the walkie-talkie back into his... A disc of smooth metal was lightly covered in snow. Two faint seams were visible along the surface. The boys stared in disbelief at the sign. Looking down at the frozen stream, Luca could faintly see a school of minnows encased in the ice. The crunching of footsteps trailing Luca, he looked back to see Iggy's face twisted. Luca peered upward at the door. He let out a long, faintly. Iggy began seeing Iggy in such a pathetic state gave Luca a sense of compassion. Luca allowed himself to collapse next. The boys huddled together for warmth, if not for exhaustion. Their minds would be racing, trying to make sense. As it was, all they had energy for was to sit and... Iggy motioned sarcastically to his half-deformed face. Iggy shrugged. Iggy now wept over. He wiped his nose with a sleeve. Luca gave a warm chuckle. Iggy cleared his throat as he wiped his eyes. Iggy arched into a walk. Luca's eyelids began to slowly. That's all Luca could whisper before succumbing. Iggy snuggled in some more. The house smelled of warm bread. Luca was playing with toy blocks on the... He looked up to see his parents. His mother held his father's head in her lap. A voice behind Luca spoke. This is... Luca turned to see the doppelganger from his dreams, still clad in a yellow hazmat suit, still carrying a look of disdain. Aww, look at this perfect... The figure picked up a toy block and inspected it. It's amazing the facades that one can build given the right... Not that I blame us. These are a child's memory. You don't remember. Luca snatched the block from the figure's yellow-gloved hand. The doppelganger pointed to the cat. The last day we saw him, the day he chose to obey. Luca turned to look at his father. That's not true. The doppelganger waved his hand dismissive. Everything is true here. It's just a matter of... Let me show you. The world flickered and... Luca was sitting next to his bed, listening to his heartbeat with one of his dad's stethoscopes. The doppelganger limped into the room. Now, we both... He grabbed Luca's hand and guided the stethoscope. Luca heard muffled shouting, brought close by the stethoscope. It was his parents. Do you remember what we did next? Luca gave a slow nod and crept down the hall to peek and see the outline of his mother at the bottom of the stairs. Damn it, Walt. We can't afford to get involved in that. She was scared. His father stepped forward. What am I supposed to do? Just watch? There's a sickness in this town, and we both know who's behind it. I swore, and I won't turn my back on. Luca's mother grabbed Walt. She was crying. Walt calmly removed Eleanor's hand from his shoulder. What's right is right. I could never live with myself if I let Sharper get away with it. Eleanor raised her voice. Spare me your bullshit platitudes. What about our son? Luca flinched, dropping the stethoscope down the stairs. Walt turned with a panicked Luca. Is that you, buddy? With tears in his eyes, Luca descended. Mom? Walt dropped to a knee to meet Luca eye to eye. Nothing, buckaroo. Your mom and Luca placed the stethoscope against his father's chest. It sounded like you were... Walt gently removed the device from Luca's ear. Listen to me, Luca. I have some... I'll be back in time to tuck you. Luca hugged his father tightly. Promise? Walt stood up and walked to the pipe with a wink and a grin. He put on his hat and strode out into the evening. A figure approached soundlessly from the foggy snow. It stood above them. Slowly raising one hand above Iggy, it snapped out 2 brisk raps on his head. From a deep slumber, Iggy sprang up to... Whether it was the calming presence or the recognition that he was not in danger, Iggy felt his clenched fists lower. Luca looked up, gradually remembering his whereabouts. The figure exhaled a cloud of warm vapor. When it came to complete strangers, Iggy had trouble cobbling together an insult. Iggy huffed with gratification. Nat began to turn away indifferently. Iggy turned sharply and began to stomp. Realizing he'd worn their patience thin, Nat relented. Luca and Iggy turned around with hope in their eyes. Nat took a deep breath in. Nat exhaled slowly, then snapped his finger. For a brief moment, Luca and Iggy let themselves believe that until they opened their eyes and found them cold and Nat narrowed his eyes. Luca began to laugh uncomfortably. He looked down at his feet. His eyes started back and forth, and with a sudden pain, he sprinted off into the pale distance. As Iggy turned to follow, Nat called out. Chapter 6. Nat expressed his sympathy with a shrug and sauntered off as unassumingly as he'd given Luca and Iggy what they needed, and nothing. As Luca sprinted across the snow, the events of the past few days became clearer, pieces to a larger puzzle. Rollo said he was underground somewhere, captured. Mr. Kerr tried to cover it up with lies. The clipboards were hell-bent on capturing Iggy. It all seemed to point to perennial, but right now, there was one thing that Luca stopped dead and the tree was gone. Uprooted and moved, he dropped to his knees and dug wildly at the His numb hands hit something hard. A dry whisper escaped Luca's lips. There was no reply. Iggy finally noticed the tears welling in Luca's eyes. Suddenly, they heard the crunch of approaching footsteps in the snow. He bent down to scoop up a snowball and lobbed it playfully. Luca stuttered through heaving. Iggy gave Luca a solid smack on the back. Luca wiped his eyes with. Iggy flashed a mischievous smile. Iggy and Luca shared a skeptic. Iggy darted behind a large pine and began digging. He emerged holding a shoebox with a crude skull painted on its lid. Luca rolled his eyes. Iggy stifled a chuckle. Iggy triumphantly raised. Luca and Iggy inched up to the edge of the hole with bewilderment in their eyes. Arctic air breathed out of the cavern. Mr. Kerr gazed down the abyss in contemplation. Kerr scratched the back of his head. His face contorted into a sack. Kerr snapped his finger. Iggy turned to Luca with a slide. Iggy waved the box into the air, threatening to drop. Iggy plucked a single bottle rocket from the box and held it up with reverence. After a long pause, Mr. Kerr flung up his hand with frustration. Mr. Kerr sighed into the fridge. With a nonchalant flick, Iggy tossed the firework. With a growl, Kerr leapt at Iggy, crashing through Luca. Iggy tried to twist away, but in the struggle they both tumbled over. Luca dove forward, bracing Iggy's hand just before it slipped. His grip was made precarious by the cold, wet. He could see Kerr further down, clinging to Iggy's coat. Mr. Kerr gasped with insult. With a wild look in his eye, Mr. Kerr began to hum a proud. Luca's hand began to cramp. His voice began to... Luca felt Iggy loosen his grasp. Every muscle in Luca's body. Luca felt his hand slipping. A calm settled over Iggy's face. Iggy's voice was colder than the bitter air. Luca had no choice but to refuse Iggy's request. He tightened his grip and reached. A wild delight crept up. That's a good lad. Iggy begged Luca with his eyes one last time, but Luca pressed them. We need... It wasn't long before they were once again Mr. Kerr sighed with relieved frustration. There you are. You really are a worthless lot. A clipboard dutifully produced an ornate ivory hand mirror, and Mr. Kerr began preening his tousled hair. Ah, that's better. Mr. Van Ho, I'll put in a good word for you with the founder. Take them away. A swarm of hands overpowered Luca. The last thing he saw before a cloth bag was pulled over his head was the end. I think this was one of those times where doing the right thing. Luca had no choice but to accept Iggy's request. With a quiet blink, Luca watched a teardrop sail down, and as his fingers slowly gave up, he met eyes with Iggy. The two silhouettes were swallowed by darkness. We have some idea what that would look like. A fierce twinkle flashed in Nat's eyes. With a chuckle, Nat turned and walked, dumbfounded. Luca followed behind him, every step taking him further away from everyone, and to be continued in Beacon Pines, Pines Harder. Revenge served cold. Second time's a charm? Wait, that's it? This ends with a crummy cliffhanger? I was even starting to like Iggy. No way. I refuse to be associated with some never-end. Let's go back and find something more They'd run the classic good cop, hard cop interrogation. Rollo brandished a steel. I've got this. Read about. Rollo swaggered past the chair which propped up without even looking at his captive. He began with a long Mr. Tolliver remained. Rollo spun around to face. He'd clearly expected to rouse Mr. Tolliver with his boom. Beck and Luca gave each other an Rollo slammed his fist. He grabbed the table lamp and beamed it onto the Mr. Tolliver groaned. He recoiled with a muddled wheel. The chair wobbled as he attempted. Mr. Tolliver could only make out rough shapes through the glaring. With a gruff tone, Rollo hoped to both conceal his voice. The doubtful expression on Beck and Luca's faces transformed. Rollo, hitting his stride, was now channeling every detective trope his memory could recall. He slammed the table again. Mr. Tolliver's voice became desperate. He was nearly... Mr. Tolliver was in a daze, now more confused. He shook his head, feeling more and more dizzy. His voice faded to a whisper. With that, Mr. Tolliver passed out. Rollo swung around with a repentant grimace. Chapter 8, 6 Feet Under, 3. The kids spent the rest of the afternoon combing through dusty piles of old county records, desperately searching for anything that could help them make sense of Luca tried to shake the thought of Gran's basement, but his focus wavered. Explosives, messages hidden in jam, dossiers on various town figures, and a corkboard threaded with photos. Gran was the only family he had left. He still couldn't bring, but the old map with the symbol. As the sun began to set, Rollo shut his book within his search. Rollo muttered under his breath. Beck slammed her finger down on the open page before... Something tickled the back of Luca. The question hung in the air. Beck rubbed her eye. Luca's heart was pounding as he approached the... If he was lucky, Gran, or whoever it was, hadn't. And of course, there was Mr. Tolliver tied up and unconscious in the basement. Dealing with him would be the first or... Luca shook out his arms to calm his nerves. He held perfectly still, tempering his breath. She was asleep. His only hope was that she hadn't found Mr. Mr. Tolliver was nowhere to be seen. Or maybe Gran knew everything. Luca's hungry stomach, not realizing it, he'd gone the entire day. Luca rushed over to the pile of jam jars, unscrewed one, and shoveled a handful into it. He flipped the lid to read the label. As Luca climbed the final stair, the emotion of the day. With each consecutive step, his stride began to falter. He tried to grab for the railing to steady himself. Something was wrong. Luca groaned and his limbs might as well have been bolted. Through numb lips, he mumbled just. Chapter 9. A speech to end all speeches. Luca awoke to find himself face down in bed. He moaned into his pillow. Why would Gran drug him? Or rather, why was she trying? Shaking the questions from his woozy head, Luca snapped back. Augustus Valentine nervously wiped his brow. Gus cleared his throat and awkwardly loosened his tongue. William Kerr bounded on the stage with the energy of a preacher at a... He gave Gus a hearty slap on the back and motioned him off. Mr. Kerr pulled a thick stack of note cards out from his vest. Mr. Kerr took a moment to survey the crowd. He wiped away a He thumped the podium to emphasize each word. Mr. Kerr nodded confidently. The crowd was silent. Mr. Kerr methodically made eye contact with each section of the crowd. His voice began to build to a crescendo. The crowd began to look around nervously. Mr. Kerr quickly flicked through his note card. He raised his hands up to the heavens. At that moment, moment, a merciless wall of impossibly cold air ripped through the crowd. For a man like William Kerr, this was a fitting on a stage, with an entire town frozen in rapt attention for the There's that ice again! Whenever I think we're getting close, maybe we should just quit? Maybe you should just close the book. No, we got a little closer this time, please. They'd run the classic good cop. Luca and Rollo ducked behind a barrel, leaving Beck to her task. With a few crisp snaps, she roused Mr. Mr. Tolliver looked down and shifted a bit. Beck caught herself before letting the surprise manifest on her face. She'd already gotten him to reveal his relation. This was gonna be easy. Mr. Tolliver wriggled a bit in his restraint. Beck quickly removed the ropes. Mr. Tolliver rubbed the growing knot on his forehead. Beck twirled her hand, as if to prompt Mr. Tolliver to finish her thought. Beck shook her head and clicked her tongue. Mr. Tolliver let out an amused huff in a Beck was on a roll now, playing Mr. Tolliver like a fiddle. Heading for the stairs, Mr. Tolliver hesitated and turned to Beck. She grinned and gave him a peppy wave. With a shrug, he continued up the stairs, whistling a jaunt. Beck blinked slowly and disappointed. She turned to the table and began tearing small scraps of paper. Beck marked each scrap of paper and leaned back. Luca and Beck looked at Rollo with amazement. Iris looked around nervously. Iris's cry hung in the air. Solomon stood proudly at the entrance to the holding a brown bag overflowing with black licorice. Solomon shoveled a surprising amount of licorice into his mouth. Beck cupped her hands on the glass to peek. Beck flung open the door, and they all squeezed in. Luca cracked his knuckles and entered the letters into the keypad. The inside of the phone booth dropped loose without even the space to panic. They closed their eyes. Suddenly, the chaotic descent slowed to an effortless. It was unclear where they ended up, but at least it was all. The air was stagnant and smelled vaguely of chlorine. over the field of blinking buttons. Joseph waited for a moment in silence. He gestured toward the strange tubes. Nuncreed let out a growl of a sigh. He shook his head, whispering. Nuncreed took a menacing step towards. Luca began to laugh. The color drained from Nuncreed's face. Nuncreed grabbed Luca by the shoulders. His eyes were frightened. A jolt of realization struck Mr. Nuncreed. Chapter 8. The cold, hard. Beck leapt up, allowing the suction to dimness eclipsed around her like the shutter of a camera. Her only points of reference were glints of upcoming. She heard the tinny, distant echo once she stopped fighting against it. Then, all of a sudden, as if minutes had passed in an instant, light blazed into view. A burst of wintry air snuffed. As they rounded the corner to the frozen town square, they spotted Mr. Nuncreed inching cautiously toward a pit. He held his arms out gingerly, as if approaching. Upon closing the distance, Luca recognized what Nuncreed was after. Graham stood confidently at the edge, one arm outstretched over the abyss. Nearby, a wheelbarrow had been emptied out. She held a lit torch, which flickered in the bitter. Mr. Nuncreed turned back toward the kids, desperate. Rollo and Beck held steadfast in awe. Luca approached closer. Mr. Nuncreed spun back toward Graham, his voice growing louder. Mr. Nuncreed winced with anguish. His voice hardened. They both now yelled, not to each other, but at making their peace with long-held burdens. The wind howled with encouragement. They menaced at each other, both catching their breath. The moment balanced on a knife's edge. Amid a blur of emotions and memories, the wind calmed. And in the still, after the death of his father, Luke, each night, his mother would sit at the foot of his bed. It was the only thing that could calm, the only thing that, however briefly, could. That melody pervaded every shivering in the raw snow. He began. Gran lowered the torch. As recognition slowly set in, those countless nights, the incomparable loss, she let the torch fall to the snow and sizzle out. A few steps toward Luca was all she could bear before dropping to the snow herself. Through a flood of tears, she began. Luca lifted his head in the last time he heard that melody was. Luca blinked through blurry, watery eyes, trying to see more clearly. He could just make out the impression of a familiar face. He peered across the snowscape at the woman on her knees. Something about her was undeniably his mother, only smaller, older, changed. Luca sprinted as fast as he could. They held each other close, and the cold retreated from their bodies. Eleanor looked down at Luca, tightening her embrace in an appeal for forgiveness. Joseph slumped into the cold, wet snow. For the first time in a long time, her voice felt like her own. Luca gazed down at Nuncreed with pity. He looked small. Joseph stared into the snow, as if searching it. Chapter 9. The Devil You Know. 7. Eleanor Van Horn crept down the maze of sterile hallways under. She stopped in front of the large steel door marked Deep and no turning back now. She raised a trembling hand. The stolen keycard worked as promised, and the door bust open with mechanical efficiency. She was immediately hit with the smell of disinfectant. It was some sort of laboratory. In one corner was a desk covered in papers. She rushed to the desk and began shifting through the piles of papers. They were experiment reports on something called Tempus Liquamen. There were dozens of them, every one stamped. Eleanor heard the sharp echo of footsteps approach. She was out of time. Her eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on the strange pod. Muttering a curse under her breath, she dashed over and dove inside. Mr. Kerr addressed the crowd with a sarcastic. Whispers filtered through the crowd. Torment dragged on Joseph Nuncreed's face. He paused for a moment, plucking a piece of fuzz from his sweater and discarding it to the ground. gave a bow of deference. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon's lips. His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching, a hushed horror. This is a story. Sharper examined his new hands. Sharper choked out a crude squawk of a laugh. Frustrated grumbles sprinkled through the crowd. William Kerr gave a subtle nod to the clipboards. A helpless quiet settled. Sharper addressed the crowd with indignant pride. He'd planned this moment for so long that now, at the deed's fruition, it almost felt frivolous. Mr. Kerr flourished a preposterously elaborate bow. Sharper coughed up one final laugh and cracked his knuckles. And so, Sharper set about remaking the town in his own image. The fertilizer factory soon reopened. Sales rose steadily as more and more farmers across the countryside began to swear by Beacon Pines became famous, a secretive town that, for the right price, gifts that became more and more necessary in a world where, with the end. This is wrong, but you can feel it. We can't let Sharper win. He might just be, let's see. And in the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just falling to the tears crystal. Gran stared at Luca for a moment with warm sympathy. She stiffened up and brandished Ignoring his final plea, Gran She smiled and exhaled in relief. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunder. Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence. Gran only had her attempt to shield him, unflinching love. There was no her warm embrace. That is where they remain. And so, our story ends in a town brought low by its secrets. Well, that on the bright side, we finally figured out where all the ice is coming. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a... There was a malice lurking behind those eyes, like a trap ready to spring. Luca felt the weight of Nuncrete's hand on his shoulder. Something wasn't right. He didn't know why, but something was telling Luca. Luca twisted free of Nuncrete's grasp. The two scurried off, eagerly formulating a plan. Luca tied a bent. If all you have. He aired a long holler. Luca felt his eyes getting heavy. He conceded to its lumpy. Once again, Luca found himself. This time, he took a single confident. The world flickered and pulled. He found himself standing in front of the source. He plopped down cross-legged and gazed into the cold flame, waiting. Soon enough, the fire began to die out, popping sporadically. Luca stood up and dusted him. He plucked the glowing ember from the cold ash, examined it, a keepsake. The voice of his father. You made me proud, Buckaroo. Luca turned to face him. Dad, what a warm grin grew. A place where everything that has been and everything that could be. Luca found himself staring at his father's face, trying as hard. Wait? Another voice spoke out as Luca's doppelganger stepped toward. That's without knowing why. Is any of this? Luca's father bent down to. Of course, I'm as real as the part of. Luca turned to look at the older. And you. The doppelganger choked. I'm as real as the part of this. Through his tears, his father pulled him in for an time to go, Buck. Luca was startled from his dream by a banging on the floor. A commanding voice rumbled. Just as Luca sprang to lock the entry hatch, the door. Chapter 5. Dangers. Luca stumbled back. He heard the rope ladder creak. Keeping his eyes fixed on the hatch, he inched backward to the balcony. As his hand grasped the door handle, Luca froze. A large figure clumsily wriggled. The large figure cocked its head inquisitively. Luca's jaw. He peered more closely at the man standing in front. Something about him was only bigger, changed. Rollo proudly presented his hands to Luca. Luca moved to the side and pointed Rollo to his reflection in the balcony window. His hands shot up to his face. Rollo shadowboxed a few jabs. With a yelp, Rollo dove behind Luca. She shot a nervous glance at Rollo. Beck's eyes narrowed. Ilona tried to put on a smile. She sighed, and after a moment, looked down at Beck sympathetically. She flashed a sly grin and tousled Beck's hair. Luca gave Rollo a quick elbow to the ribs. Beck flicked a large sheet of paper out of her pocket and slammed it on the floor. Rollo started to wiggle with excitement. Chapter 6. They spent the night's end huddled around that small map, formulating a plan to infiltrate. It would be no small feat. A modern facility equipped with all manner of, not to mention the swarm of clipboards that would, by the time the sun began to peek through the car window, this could just... The final day before the festival would be used to... They'd need to pool every resource at their disposal, pull every favor, even enlist some unsavory characters around town with important tasks only they... Luckily, there was enough ill will and mistrust toward Perennial Harvest that alliances could be founded. Luca, Beck, and Rollo rubbed their eyes as they exited the tree. They hadn't slept at all. That the festival was to begin in one day. He waved vaguely at Rollo's. Beck snorted and... They each looked at each other with... Toby looked up from the clipboard excited. Jeff wheezed out a long snicker. The joy in Jeff's face drained instantly. Looking into the sullen eyes of his would-be accomplice, Luca blurted out, Luca wasn't ready to give up so easily. He shouted out again. Jeff's brow perked up. Sensing some traction, Luca carried on with vigor. Jeff's scowl faded with a sigh. One good stomp of the foot was all Jeff needed to drive his point. Luca offered out his open hand to seal the deal. With a firm and dusty grip, Jeff reciprocated. And eyebrows. Iggy gave a reluctant shrug. Iggy considered the point. A wild-eyed grin spread across Iggy's. Iggy glanced over to Tish, who nodded in agreement. With a quick nod, Luca was off. Iggy gazed up at Tish with a smile. A single tear ran down Tish's cheek. Chapter 7. Into the Hive. A good heist requires and thorough preparation takes. So far, everything. Jeff, Iggy, and Beck radioed Luca that night with a simple and covert message. And Rollo, after a lengthy confession, managed to persuade Roxy and Fitz to help. He stowed away in mission control for the night to avoid attracting attention. Rollo, being uniquely suited for the role, would be the first to breach. The outfit provided by Jeff wasn't perfect, but a convincing disguise is 10% wardrobe. Rollo took a few vigorous breaths and shook out. He had to think quick. Rollo sighed, adjusting his tool belt. With a stroke of his mustache, Rollo proceeded into the perennial. He stammered and flipped through the pages of his. Rollo interrupted with urgency in his. Rollo panicked. The distraction was enough for Rollo to regain his confidence. The clipboard fumbled around in a frenzy. Solomon stopped in his tracks. A veneer of confusion flashed across Solomon. His words rushed out dramatically. Solomon's facade briefly faltered. Luca happened to notice a plaque above the door. Luca tried the handle. Solomon leaned forward to examine the mechanism. Luca smiled and looked at his watch. She mimed a quick hat tip and ambled off with a whistle. The light on the keypad changed from red to green. Luca switched on his walkie-talkie. On the computer screen, a green cursor blinked and Luca pecked out his best guess. Underground. The screen blinked to life. Columns of green numbers glowed. Solomon's jaw clenched into a half. Luca quickly scanned the columns for number 24601. Once again, Lucas scrutinized the numbers on the screen. In that moment of distraction, Solomon reached forward and pressed. He quickly skimmed the screen with his finger. Mr. Kerr approached with a sneer and spoke into his... With self-satisfaction, he called into the hallway. Nellie leaned over to examine his teeth. Nellie sighed. crawled across Solomon. Solomon muttered inaudibly. Solomon once again muttered under his breath. Luca tugged on each of the cabinets. Luca held his hand up to the ashtray. They heard the trampling of frantic footsteps from the hall. Her eyes searched the floor in thought. Solomon watched eagerly, waiting for them. With a sickened look, she peered. Solomon clapped with genuine delight. Solomon glanced down, examining his youthful form. Kerr presented it with a theatrical twirl of the hand. Before he could finish, Rollo snatched the vial from Kerr's palm. Rollo casually tossed the vial to Luca. Luca jiggled the vial mockingly. She held it tightly behind her back. Solomon sighed, speaking in crisp, he pursed his lips with feigned sincerity. A deep uncertainty washed over back. She looked to Nellie shakily. With a dispirited nod, Nellie sighed in defeat. Beck slowly approached Solomon. With apprehension, Beck conceded. Solomon pocketed the vial and brushed off his shoulder with a sharp flick. The blood drained from Kerr's face. Solomon shook his head with gratification. A muffled applause resonated faintly through the walls. Nellie was staring at the floor, deep in. The color dropped from Luca's face. Luca was overwhelmed with emotion. A sudden explosion sounded from the hall. Chapter 8. Comeuppance. Ears still ringing, Gran picked herself up off the ground. Through the dust and smoke, she looked over to see Mrs. Fratelli helping Hiram Tolliver to his feet. She'd had to beg, borrow, and steal to acquire those explosives. How many nights had she spent visualizing how she'd use them to... And now, her one shot at destroying the source, that damned hole that swallowed so much of her life, traded for this jagged hole in a wall in a foolhardy with Fratelli and Tolliver at her side, she stepped through. It was a strange feeling. The last time she'd stalked this maze of hallways, they quickly rounded a corner to find a group of clipboards guarding a door. Something worth guarding is probably something worth. She leapt forward, brandishing her cane. If her last chance at vengeance for things lost was truly gone, she would just have to fight to keep what she... They made their way out from deep within perennial. Solomon pulled a glass vial from... In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon. With a mischievous look, remember when I had the vial behind my back? I might have tweaked his wonder potion with a little change. His body and face began to contort and expand. Eris awkwardly cradled the squirming child. She looked to her brother, her voice shaking with uncertainty. She looked back down at the infant with equal parts kindness and terror. With a shake of her head, Eris addressed the crowd with a stern epilogue. Beacon Pine's coldest summer on record came and went without. Folks shared what they had and none were left wanting. The new school year was ushered in by the fall. After everything Luca, Rollo, and Beck had been through, the chill of winter didn't seem to bother people much. They kindled a hope for a better future in their hearts. When spring arrived, farmers planted their crops with a sense of joy. And as the dawn of the first day of summer came again, its light slowly crept over the town square, across the river, his mind at peace, knowing he is here for a reason. When Perennial Harvest collapsed, most of the clipboards skipped town, but some stuck around and dedicated themselves to Luca tied a bent. If all you Eris did her best to ignore the tears welling in her. Closing her eyes, Miss Hatch took a deep He playfully waggled an apple. Mrs. Fratelli glowed with a care. Mrs. Fratelli sighed with a Luca squinted at the faded photo of his memories of that day. Mr. Nuncreed reached down and patted Luca's shoulder with an enormous hand. Mr. Wilder adjusted his monocle jokingly. Mr. Nuncreed shook his head. With perennial harvest gone, the transportation tubes were left unused. Well, maybe not completely. Honestly, I began to lose, but then you came along. I don't know exactly how to thank you. It's hard to explain how much this means to me. funny, now that our time together is finally ending. Let's just... tweaked his wonder potion with a little junk. His body and face. As the last of what was once Sharper Valentine wafted into the air, the crowd began. Sharper Valentine was his end would be a new beginning, a new chance to let go of the things they had lost. Well, I'd be lying if I said, if that feels to you like a good note to end on. I might have tweaked his wonder potion with a little malice. His body and face. The crowd gazed in stun. The quiet was broken when William Kerr. He was never seen around Beacon Pines or anywhere else. Watching the silhouette of Kerr disappear over the first, a low chuckle that became through his tears. He was vaguely aware that the crowd had begun. That was perhaps a bit of an absurd ending for my taste, but I'm only writing the damn thing.